Welcome in, everyone, to the Challenge After Show right here on Patreon. And tonight, Jenna and I are going to be talking about our favorite reality shows of all time. So it's not the best reality shows. It's not based on which one got the most ratings. It's based on our ratings. If we watched it and we loved it, it's going to make the list. And we're going to do our top 5. Now, for me, this was hard to narrow it down, but Jenna, you seem to have perfect 5. You were all set to go, ready to go.
Perfect 5, but I cheated a little bit. So bear with me.
You know, it's funny. I cheated a little bit too. And I think that's, wow. Huh.
You know that I always have to cheat a little bit. Like, I like to double down on some of my rankings. It gets too hard. I'm sorry. If there's a tie, there's a tie.
And I know that you cheat on yours, so I made sure to cheat on mine, apparently. So that's
you could have expected it. I can't just give you a solid traditional 5 ranking system. I have to just add a little bit of a cheat to it.
Okay. Do you
have some honorable mentions too? Do you have honorable mentions?
Oh yeah, that's going to be between 2 and 1. We're going to do all our honorable mentions, and I have like 20 honorable mentions, but I'll fly through them. So, yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, Dan was saying before we went live just now that this is really hard for him because he has like 20 on his full master list.
And you have exactly 5. I can't wait to see what your choices are. All right. And we also joked about we would definitely match on 2. So we'll see what those 2 are, but I think everyone that watches us regularly already knows. You want to start?
Want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay, my first one at the bottom of the list is Bad Girls Club. I remember watching this when I was like in probably middle school, early high school, which looking back on it now may have been too young to watch a show like that, but it was so hilarious. I remember the season of LA, which had like all of the heavy hitters. And I think if you watch Bad Girls Club, you know this exact season because it had Natalie and it had Flo on it. And Natalie would go around the house screaming, "I run LA, I run LA." I can't remember what she did, if she grew up in a rich family or if she had like a basketball player boyfriend or something, but she just felt like it's like she controlled Los Angeles. Flo was badass. They basically just, it was kind of reminiscent of what we've talked about with Jersey Shore before, where they've literally just let people brawl. And like, that's what they did on Bad Girls Club. Like there was no intervening with producers. They just let them have at it. Yeah. And pretty much everything was on the table that you could do.
What are the bad girls up to now? Do you know what any of them are up to in 2021?
That's such a good question. I actually don't know.
Yeah, I always like to look up people to see what the hell they're doing after they do these. It's like, okay, so you went back to a regular job after beating the hell out of each other on national TV. Okay, good for you, but I don't know how that works. I always wondered about that.
Yeah, I wonder if that one was long enough ago where it was right on the cusp of like social media fame that people would definitely recognize the contestants, but it's not as though that necessarily like catapulted them into a sort of fame or a social media following because that wasn't around yet.
Right.
So I wonder, like a lot of them probably just proceeded to live very normal day job sort of lives, except for Natalie. I'm sure Natalie's running LA still.
I just think it must be hard to make a career out of reality TV. So I can only imagine what they're doing, especially before social media, because a lot of these people just live on social media after that and just promote things. And then if they get a certain amount of likes, you know, more brands go with them. And then that's how they scrape together a living. I don't know. It's very interesting, the whole concept of being a full-time reality star.
Yeah, Bad Girls Club is, again, another reality show that could only exist in the time that it existed in. You couldn't have it now. I mean, the way that they would fight with each other, the things that they would say and do to each other, it wouldn't last in this time period.
How many seasons did they do of that show?
I think a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have went on for a while is what I'm wondering, because then, you know, eventually it had to grow.
17 seasons.
How many?
17.
Wow.
It aired on Oxygen, same production company as The Challenge, Bunin and Murray. And it may have just been when I caught up to Bad Girls Club, but it was such a bingeable show even back then, because they used to just run it like in succession. They used to just put out like hour-long days where it was just Bad Girl Club on repeat. So it was binging before the binging. And that's how I remember I got into it. And it was like a family event. It was like Thanksgiving or something. And me and all of my cousins are sitting in the downstairs living room, just all watching Bad Girls Club, one after another, one after another. Like, talk about a family-filled Thanksgiving.
There it is. Yeah. For my list, it's all about rewatchability. If I can watch these shows over and over and over again, even if I know what's going to happen, that's what makes a good reality show to me, personally. So, I mean, I guess any show technically, but for real reality, like for sure, because like there's a bunch of movies that I love, but I watched them once and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to watch that movie again. But yeah, anyways. All right, here we go. My number 5 is a reality show on MTV, and it is called Jackass.
True Life.
No, Jackass.
Oh, I forgot that was a reality TV show. I was just thinking
it was on once a week for like, I think they only started with 30-minute episodes. They did like 3 seasons. Then Johnny Knoxville was like, MTV's holding us back. They won't let us do whatever we want. So he went off and did a movie career for a while. And then when the movie thing came out, they were like, oh, you can do whatever you want again. And then that's why they're making so many movies now. Jackass Forever is coming out in October, I believe. So that's going to be a fun thing. But yeah, to me, I watched Jackass over and over and over again. I knew they were going to fall, crash and burn. And I loved every second of them getting hurt. It was the best. My friends and I, as kids, we were like, I don't know, I was like in high school. We made our own Jackass show. We called it Dumbass. And we would go out and we would do some of the same stunts, some new ones that we'd come up with. And I would edit them. We'd film over the summertime because it's the only time we had as kids to film. And then at the TV studio, like in my high school, I would edit them together and put together little edited versions. And I'd show it to my friends at home. I was a real nerd about it. I loved it.
If your teachers only knew what you were using the school facilities for, they had no idea that you were probably like skateboarding and biking into shit. Did you do anything naked? Don't they do a lot of things naked on that show?
Yep, we did naked stuff. And that was, I don't remember editing those parts in school, but I probably tried to get away with it. I was...
Dude, they're going to nail you on like a child porn charge. That ain't right.
I was underage at the time, though. I was only 17, 16. So I think I'm good. As bad as that sounds. All right, What's your number 4 before I get in any more?
My number 4 is, it's a very relevant show now, actually, because it's so problematic. And I agree, trust me, I agree that it's so problematic. Some of the competitions used in this show are ones that literally make you cringe, want to cover your eyes. It's just all sorts of fucked up and wrong. But putting some of those parts aside, all in all, it's such an entertaining and well-produced show, and all of the hosts are very just electric on camera, and they're really good. And I could tell that the passion is there from all of them. It's America's Next Top Model.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know if you've seen clips now, like clips are resurfacing on TikTok and Instagram where people are like, what the fuck was Tyra Banks thinking? And trust me, a lot of the shit is bad. They had a competition where they turned women into a different race and ethnicity. So they literally would like take a white girl and make her like Chinese or Black, or they really mixed around races. And it all just like, ooh, right over our head when we were that age watching, you know. I think it's something that you look back now and you're like, ooh, wait, what? One of the hosts, or judges rather, Janice Dickinson, was also just like such an asshole to all the girls. And it was so problematic in terms of like body image and eating disorder. Like the very first season, they're shitting on some girl because she's like 140 pounds or something. And that to them in the modeling world was like severely overweight. So a lot of stuff is ridiculous, but again, like entertainment value, all the girls on the show are amazing and supportive and love each other for the most part. Sometimes they get into fights, but it has the entertainment, it has the competition, it has the drama, but it also has them like working for a career, you know? So it's just a really good show. Yeah. Outside of
Janice Dickinson was the world's first supermodel, as I recall. That's what she like goes by. Like that's her title underneath her name, world's first ever supermodel or whatever they want to.
Yeah. And listen, I'm not discrediting her. I know she worked hard for it, but she let know that she's the world's first supermodel too. Like she wants it to be back like the 80s and 90s when she thrived. She wants you to have that quintessential toothpick look. Like it was really a lot of shit's outdated. So
Well,
very problematic and ridiculous at most times.
In my honorable mention, there's a show called The Surreal Life, which she was also on, and she was crazy as F on that show. It was ridiculous. So,
yeah, America's Next Model, give it a watch.
Speaking of other VH1 shows, in my number 4 spot, I did what you would consider a cheat here, or what I would consider a cheat here. I combined 3 VH1 shows, and I combined.
Okay, now that's just fucking ridiculous.
I combined the 3 VH1 shows because the second 2 were spin-offs of the first one. And the first one was Flavor of Love.
Yes.
And then came out I Love New York. And then came out Rock of Love with Bret Michaels.
Yes!
And all 3 of them are absolutely amazing for their own reasons. And I mean, Flavor Flav got his comeback. He appeared on The Surreal Life to start. They loved him so much on that. They gave him Flavor of Love, and then it all went from there. And then Tiffany Pollard on that show, she stood out. They're like, we got to give her a show. I Love New York. And then the Bret Michaels thing was kind of like a side spinoff where he just was like, oh, I want to be famous again. And then he did multiple seasons of that show, if you remember, Jenna, too. So
yeah, he did. And his best line is like, I'm about to, what did he say? I'm about to pop. But he said it like in one breath and sentence that you almost don't realize the meaning behind it. And you're like, wait, did he just say he's about to pop? And it's like every other confessional where he says it, like very, very horny man.
He only wore bandanas because he had his hairline, he had all hair extensions. They weren't his real hair. And he would howl up when he'd see a hot girl, like in his confessionals. He'd be like, oh, he'd be howling at the girl, like talking about them. It was a moment caught in time, and it like you always say, it's got to stay right there. And
he was like Ed Hardy's, I think, #1 buyer. Like he just always wore Ed Hardy and bandanas and Captain Jack Sparrow makeup. New York, I haven't watched Flavor of Love or I Love New York, and I know that I need to. And all my friends tell me, like, how have you not watched it? You would love it. They love it. I've seen clips of New York in action. Hilarious. Like there was multiple clips where I guess she was auditioning for a show, and people kept telling her to like break a leg for good luck, and she didn't know that it meant good luck. So she kept being like, what? Did you just tell me to break a leg?
Yeah.
She was always having issues with people because of that. It seems hysterical.
So Flavor Flav's big thing was he wouldn't call the girls by their real names. He would give them all nicknames based on their profile that they would give him or based on their look. And then the names he'd give them were ridiculous. But then when she got her spinoff, she did the same thing where she gave the guys nicknames. One guy was called 12 Pack because he had a 12 pack. I mean, just great names. You wouldn't ever know that. It was really, what a show. I mean, it was so fun.
Actually, a few years ago, saw Flavor Flav as soon as I got off of the train at Penn Station from New Jersey to New York. It's like one of those stupid moments, like whoever hangs out in the Times Square outside of Penn Station area? No one. It's like the Hollywood Boulevard of LA. Like celebrities don't go there. Right. But Flavor Flav was literally just like outside of the train station, just kind of
hanging.
Be himself. Like it seemed like he was probably drunk, just kind of.
Was he wearing a clock around his neck? That's that we need to know.
I don't remember the clock.
Because he wears very big clocks. You wouldn't miss it if he was wearing one. That's my point.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what's your number 3?
Oh yeah, because you just did your threesome cheating. My number 3 is a newer one, just because I've been loving watching it, that I could not keep it off the list. Loved both seasons so far, and I heard a new one just dropped that I need to watch.
Can I guess what it is?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely The Circle then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It's so good. It's kind of a weird social media phenomenon type thing. So it kind of shows, I guess you could say, a negative part of our society, that we can judge people based off of photos, that people can lie and catfish, people can completely pretend to be somebody they're not. but that also gets the contestants in trouble, which is very funny. Like when a guy on season 1 pretended to be a girl and they were all talking about their period. He tried to participate in the conversation, but everything was like, what the hell is she talking about? Like,
so I watched a little bit of season 1. I remember that part happening. For me, I can't get into this show. I want people in the same room with each other. And I don't know if that's just me wanting to keep the idea of like social media doesn't exist and we should all be talking to each other. And, I mean, we're on a Zoom right now, so I guess it's a bad example of it. But I don't know. It's just, I want, maybe I should give it another shot. But those episodes, Jen, aren't they like an hour and a half long, like each episode?
I think they're a full hour long. So,
with no commercials. No commercials though. So really, to me, it's an hour and a half, and that's what's hard about for me watching the challenge right now too. It's like an hour and a half. Just I want an hour, and I want a 45-minute no commercial, if that makes sense. And that but anyways, episode, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I feel you on the circle though. I feel like that was a hesitation for me to start watching it. I was like, I don't know if I want anything to be more social media focused than our everyday life is. Yeah. But I think that's what actually is a pro of the show, because it makes the gossip and the talking behind people's back that much more entertaining, because they're in a room alone. So all they're doing is talking about the rest of the people. Like, how interesting do we find it in the challenge when like people say something to each other and then they go run off and say something different to somebody else. Yeah. And the reactions that people have based off of their conversations with other contestants in the apartment building is they'll talk to them once for like 2 minutes and then end the chat and say, wow, I just know that person is the best, kindest, most genuine person that ever walked this planet. Meanwhile, that person is lying to them, manipulating them, is not going to vote for them. And the other person leaves the conversation feeling like they've just made a best friend for life. So all of those situations are really funny.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Ridiculous next level stuff there with that kind of thing. Yeah. All right. My number 3. Oh, well, I guess I'm going to be the first one to get there. My number 3 is Jersey Shore.
Only number 3. I need to leave this conversation. We can't.
I feel like you have to hear my first 2 though first. But yeah, Jersey Shore makes my number 3. The characters are just all amazing. They all brought something different. They multiple seasons. Rewatchability off the wall. I can still go back and watch them. And every time they go out to a club, I know what's going to happen. I know that Polly Stalker is going to be there, but I just want to see. It's like almost like I think something different's going to unfold. I just love it. I love every second of it. But anyways, all right, yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
Like you said, the rewatchability is. I could watch the same episode probably like 3 times in a row and still love it. And I feel like no matter how many times I watch it, there's always a little something that you missed or a little quote that you didn't remember that just makes it 10 times better again.
That's how I feel like to go Disney Dan on you. Every time I ride Pirates of the Caribbean, I have that feeling. I didn't see that first time. Wait, that's different or feels different, but it's probably was there. I just didn't see it. So same concept.
Yes. Okay, my number 2. We're doing number 2, right? Or do we break?
Yeah, you did your number 3, right? Yeah. So you're doing number 2, and then after my number 2, we do honorable mention. So you're good.
Okay, number 2. And I cannot believe this didn't come to me sooner. I was finding it really hard to find a number 2 slot. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me. I was like, Laguna Beach was one of my absolute favorite reality TV shows growing up. And I put reality TV in air quotes because so many interviews and articles have come out now where the contestants, or not the contestants, what am I saying? Cast members will say like, no, literally producers were texting us and telling us like what to say. Like it was pretty much as scripted as it could have been. To stay under the umbrella of reality TV, it was still real people, real location. They all went to high school together. So it was enough realism. But other than that, it was like absolutely manipulated. So it's actually horrible what was done to these people in very impressionable ages of their lives. Like they're in high school going on to college where their emotions and their hormones are already crazy. And then they're constantly being pinned against one another, being told that, oh, their boyfriend's cheating on you with this person, or yeah, it's fucked up. But another thing, the watchability rate for me, I could put it on right now and I'm not getting any work done. I'm not answering any phone calls. Like, I'm just watching Laguna Beach. See you later.
Laguna Beach is in my honorable mentions. And in a way, like, I found out later on, obviously, like you did, that it was so scripted. They basically tell them, hey, here's your topic. We need you to hit these points in the conversation with your friend, and action, and go. But, I mean, you could tell Steven was a natural at it, because I didn't know he was acting. And now then he got on One Tree Hill and he was on that forever. And now he has another movie that came out a couple of years ago. It was pretty good. He played an actor in it. But you're not a fan of Steven? Because I think he's pretty good. I actually enjoy the stuff that he brings to the table. Not a Steven girl. Okay.
Whenever I watch Laguna Beach, I'm like, what a fuck boy. What an absolute boy.
But I mean, he's, first of all, come on, the kid's in high school. He's super good looking. I'm not trying to give him excuses to be a fuck boy, but he had all these girls fighting for him. It's kind of hard. There it is.
Again, I think we keep talking about the nostalgia of it, but I think Laguna Beach is such a good example too of like internalized misogyny and girls thinking so poorly of each other based on like a male perspective.
Oh yeah.
Because the girls really, I mean, Lauren was kind of trying to steal Kristen's boyfriend. So I understand Kristen hating Lauren for it, right? But a lot of us, when we watched it, were team Lauren. And why was that? I think it was because Lauren seemed like the victim, but really Lauren was trying to steal someone else's boyfriend the whole damn time. So there was just a lot of like,
well, her name was Kristen, right? Kristen Cavallari. What was it?
Kristen Cavallari. Yeah. But the
Kristen they made Kristen the villain, because they made her like the resting bitch face evil girl. Like, I mean, that's what producers did. I mean, they were like, maybe she's mad at Kristen, but we're gonna make it, or Lauren, but we're gonna make her we're gonna villainize her for the benefit of the show. So
right, like I felt like Kristen was villainized, exactly. Right. So that's where a lot of like the internalized misogyny comes in, where it's like Kristen's this hot, bubbly, really fun, so outgoing girl. So now she's like the devil because she's just trying to make sure her man doesn't get stolen, sort of thing. And really the big issue at the end of the day was always Steven. Why was he always going back between the two of them? So he was really the villain in this whole thing.
The end of season 1, he ends up going to San Francisco with Lauren for college or something, while Kristen still has one more year of school left. The fact that I remember all this and I haven't seen the show in years shows how many times I must have watched it when I was in college. That's insane.
Also, I mean, I don't think that there's a year that goes by where I just don't think about Trey with a belt around his arm. That's definitely like an image that's burned into my mind forever.
Yeah. I ran into, was his name Talon? Tell me his name is Talon. I was working an event in Orange County when I lived in, I still live in LA, maybe like 2013, 2014. And I was working at this very fancy apartment complex. And we were poolside for a pool party, and I was working the event, and he was there, and him and I had like a long conversation about the show and all that stuff. Nice kid, obviously living in this fancy apartment complex. His parents probably paid for the damn thing, but who am I to judge? Maybe he had a nice job. I don't know. But yeah, ran into Talon at a pool party back in Orange County back in the day.
I feel like Laguna Beach was the original, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Like the original jealousy of someone else's life, like what social media does to a lot of us now, where we look on Instagram or TikTok and we see people living these luxurious lives. They're always on vacation. They live in a mansion, they live at the beach. I feel like Laguna Beach was the first kind of taste of that for me, at least, to be like, damn, these kids live like this. And me and all my friends in New Jersey in middle school, like we just wanted to live their lives. Like we just wanted to live cliffside on the California coast and have rich parents and new cars and shit.
Yeah, I moved to LA. I started dating a girl who lived way down in Orange County. And I asked her about Laguna Beach because I was like a fan of the show. I was like, can we go to Laguna Beach? Can we go? She's like, it's super fancy, super rich, but it's like a sleepy small town where like older people live. It's not like a party place or anything like that. And well, she took me there and she was right. And it's obviously beautiful and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, this is where it was filmed. And like, it kind of loses its like nostalgia. When you see something in real life, you're like, oh, it's not as whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously gorgeous and stuff like that.
You don't like going down there? When I lived in LA, I loved going to Laguna Beach.
I like Orange County. Laguna's a little too far out there for me. I don't want to go all the way out. Like I'm more of like a Huntington Beach. There's still stuff to do. You know, I don't know. Laguna's a little too sleepy town for me. Like what did you do? You just went to
that's the thing, is it gets crowded so quick down there and the parking is miserable. Yeah. So, but I just love like the beauty of it. Again, being cliffside, the views of the coast are stunning.
Well, you know, you and my sister look alike, right? And I think my sister looks like Lauren Conrad. So therefore you do as well. Congratulations.
Well, that's a compliment I can't receive because I do not look like that gorgeous woman, but sure.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to, toot your horn too much or whatever, but no, I think you and my sister look alike and you both look like Lauren Conrad. You definitely do.
Well, shit. Hell yeah. Thanks. Sick.
You're very welcome. No problem. Okay. It's my number 2. And by the way, I know how you cheated on your number 1, didn't you? I know exactly how you cheated on your number 1.
Maybe I don't have a number 1.
You do. And what can I tell? I want to say how you cheated, but I'm not going to say it yet. Okay. My number.
You already know.
Huh?
You already know.
Okay. My number 2 is The Real World. The Real World premiered on MTV back in like 1992. I got into the show probably in the late 90s, and I watched every damn season after that. The show tried to make a comeback on Facebook. Never watched that season because I don't know how, like Facebook Watch or something, they tried to make a comeback. That was a thing a couple years ago.
Yeah, they did that with I think the Balls, like Lonzo and Lamar Ball.
And I would have watched that show too more. I watched as much of it as I could because I was interested in the Ball brothers. But Real World, just overall every season was so good. Even up to the end, it was pretty damn good. They got a little ridiculous when they started bringing in their enemies or their past loves. The past loves wasn't too bad, but they started bringing in their enemies, and they had like 16 people in a house. And I was like, well, this isn't the challenge. Like, and in the challenge, people get eliminated and go home. I had to like try to follow 16 storylines, and I was like, it's too much. Give me 7 strangers. Stop with the freaking 16 strangers. So yeah.
I did love the skeleton season though with Tony.
Yeah, that one was good. That one was pretty
good. And they brought in people onto that one, but they did it well enough where it was easy to follow.
I'm trying to think.
So interesting. Yeah, they really know how to like sabotage and ruin people's lives.
Okay, maybe you don't remember this, but on was it the skeleton season that they had the racist issue where the guy was saying racist remarks? He was using a word that he shouldn't be using. Was that the same one? Was that the skeleton season?
I don't remember that actually.
Okay, then it might have. But the season where it was one of the last seasons they aired, and that was the one I was like, it was too much for me. Like, yeah. Anyways, I don't know if it was a skeleton season or not.
Yeah, maybe. Also, the Vegas season with Nani and Leroy was really good.
So amazing. All the Vegas seasons. They did 3 seasons in Vegas, and all 3 of them were really good. And you can watch the original Vegas season on Paramount Plus if you want to. I rewatched it again. It's with Alton and Trishelle and those guys. I can name them all if you need me to, but I won't. And Arissa's on it, the one that freaked out recently on All Stars. Yeah, she's on it.
You could probably argue that Real World was like the show that opened up what is now reality TV. Putting people in a house, people from different walks of life, filming them all day. I don't know if there was anything like that before the Real World. They started.
Real World was, you nailed it, Jenna. Real World is what they consider the original reality show. Fell in love with it. Trailblazer. All right, let's get to our honorable mentions. This will be good. Yeah, honorable mentions.
Okay.
Look at how well produced the show is. I'm doing a drum roll. Okay.
Okay, first I have The Real World. We've spoken about it. Second, I have The Kardashians. Because they've built an empire off
I will give you, if it's on my list as well, I'll give you a thumbs up because I don't want to have to do repeats. So I'll give it,
You've watched it?
Oh, wait, the Rob years are my favorite years. Then it got ridiculous. But the Rob years are what I was obsessed with. The Kardashians, like almost made my number 6, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. entertaining as hell. The personalities of all of them individually and sister dynamics. First off, I have two sisters and it's real. I mean, I'm not saying that the show is real. I'm sure it's manipulated and scripted as well, but the dynamics between sisters is very much real and so entertaining because no one's ever going to tell you the truth like your sister does and just be so straightforward and blunt to your face. And the way they act to each other is fucking crazy. And they get into their little slapping fits. Their fights have been the entertainment that they've provided us throughout the years. I mean, come on. And Rob was such a sweet boy. I hope he's doing well.
I hope he's doing well too. I haven't, because I mean, he gained a lot of weight at one point, and I was keeping I was Googling just images, Rob Kardashian 2019, whatever it was at the time. I haven't looked. I should type in Rob Kardashian 2021, see how he's doing. I know he's no longer with his baby mama. I don't think they're together. What was her name? Remember, she was famous.
Blac Chyna.
She was famous for a hot second. Is she do what? She's probably just social media at this point. Is she still doing?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Music. See, these are things I should be looking up. But
these are the questions that you need answered.
I need to know. Yeah.
Then I have Big Brother. I only recently started watching it. It's not like I'm a continuous season by season watcher, but when you do watch it, the way that the games are set up, the production of the entire thing, the fact that they do it live is just brilliant. They did such a great job with that show. Production wise, it's really incredible. Rock of Love was an honorable mention. I also do you remember on VH1 that they had a show? It was probably so fleeting. I think it was only one season, but it was called Tool Academy.
Oh my God. Yes. But that was because of that was a spin-off basically of I Love New York, wasn't it? Because it was the girls from I Love Wait, who was on it?
No, it was Tool Academy. So they took a bunch of guys that are considered tools in whatever capacity, meatheads, idiots, fuckboys, whatever.
Yeah, I remember.
And they basically put them through like a series of competitions and workshops and shit to try to, to eliminate the tools from the competition pool.
Yeah, I'm thinking of another show, but it had like it had some of like the Flavor Flav girls on it, I remember, but it's not, it might not be Tool. Okay. I'm trying to think who hosts it. I'm trying to see who hosts it. Yeah, some guy. So never mind.
Very similar to that one is the show that brought us one of just the most phenomenon of American reality TV contestants ever. The show that brought us Riff Raff, unless he was on a different show, but Gentlemen's Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one where they again take a bunch of like scrubby guys and try to teach them how to be gentlemen, and that was what blessed us with Riff Raff. So thank you to that show. What was the other one that I had? Oh, I think I'm done.
Okay. Give me a thumbs up if these. Well, I guess if you've watched them or liked them. This one, I really wanted to put this in my top 5. Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica.
Yeah.
One season though. That's the issue that's why it couldn't make my top list. Or no, it did 2 seasons, but it was very short-lived because they got it. This show was so damn good. All right. Robin Big on MTV. I loved Robin Big. And Punk'd on MTV. The original season with Ashton's like the best one. Ghost Hunters. You ever watch Ghost Hunters?
No.
I met Brian Harnois at Six Flags New England when I was working there as entertainer. He had his kids in the audience of the show I was performing in. Do you remember the Wiggles? I was in the Wiggles show.
Okay, that was going to be my follow-up question. You were a Wiggle?
I was Captain Feathersword, the friendly pirate.
What does that even mean?
And I would say, "Ahoy there, me hearties! I'm Captain Feathersword, the friendly pirate."
Okay, we need a video. Well, I guess you just gave us a snippet.
Yep. So he was in the audience, and I saw him, and I was like, "Oh my God, I have to say so. I have to let him know that I know that he was on Ghost Hunters." And in the song, I'm supposed to say something and do this with it. I remember doing this, but instead of doing the words, I just said the words. I said, "I love Ghost Hunters," but in the song that I was supposed to be singing, I didn't get in trouble. Management was always on me because I love to improvise, you know me. And Anyway, so
That's why
I,
it's funny you say that because I could totally see you slipping that into the song because you do love to improvise and do little like funny shout outs.
anyways, he stayed for the meet and greet after. He said, "Thank you so much for giving me a shout out." We took a picture together. He then came back for our Halloween season. He watched me in a different show, and then we took a picture after that show.
Do you think maybe he's obsessed with you?
No.
You don't think
But he gave me his phone number, and him and I, we were texting for a while. Him and I. This is way back. This is before I moved to LA.
Wow.
Anyways, I know. John and Kate +8.
Is that really one of your favorites?
So good. TLC, baby. I watched that all day. So good.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you finish, but I just came up with 2 really good ones that I wish I put on my list.
Well, good. Tell me yours then. Go ahead.
No, you finish.
Are You the Ones on there? 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days. I got into one season of that. And I got into a second season, but I never finished it. But those were really good. That's about it. Oh my God. No. Impractical Jokers. Tell me you've seen Impractical Jokers.
You love that one? It's
love
not for me, but I love that you love it.
Okay, and that's it. That's all. Go ahead.
Pimp My Ride. Come on.
I used to watch it.
It's truly like a treasure. I cannot believe I didn't think to put it on my list.
Can I guess your next one after you're done?
I'm not to talk about Pimp My Ride though, because I just love so much that it'll be like, you like to listen to music? We just put a massive sound system in your car. You once went to an aquarium? Thank God we put an entire fish bowl in your trunk. Now you can never put anything inside your trunk.
Here's the best one. You like playing pool? Here's a pool table that comes out of your trunk, but it was only, you couldn't stand around the whole pool table because it was half locked. Like, who's going to use that for pool? That one killed me with the pool table one. That was like this ridiculous.
But like Exhibit just gave the most in his hosting abilities. He had so much energy. It was so entertaining to watch. That was like as soon as I got home from school every day, like click the TV on and was always watching Pimp My Ride. And I'm so sad and disappointed in myself for not remembering it until now.
That's okay.
Next one I have.
Can I guess it though?
Yeah.
Well, because you just mentioned that you would watch it right when you got home from school, was this another show you watched right when you got home from school?
Oh, I think I know where you're headed.
Okay.
But this next one specifically is not the one you're thinking of, but I think I know what you're thinking of.
Tell me what I'm thinking of then.
You're thinking TRL.
No, I'm thinking of Next, that dating show.
Next was very good. But that was when they came off the bus, right? And then didn't the guy he could say like immediately no to that?
Yeah. Well,
that's fucking horrible.
I would get off my yellow school bus, run home, and then I'd watch other people get off a bus, and then you got to pick a date, right?
That was like real life Tinder. Like people, all they did was legit walk off a bus, and he was like, "Nope, next."
Holy shit! But girls got the opportunity too, though. Girls, the guys. But you're right. That was we just discovered the original Tinder. That was the TV show Next on MTV.
So you know what, Dan? You know what we have to do to make millions is let's go back to one of these shows and we'll just make it an app. So Pimp My Ride from my phone app. You just customize, you make like a fantasy car.
Yeah.
And then you somehow have to find $2 million to finance the building of this. Right. We integrate gambling somehow. We put like a blackjack table and then you also play a game of blackjack. And if you win, then you can pimp your ride. It's worth it, I think. I think that's a genius idea.
It's a big idea. We got to put something.
The other one I have is also an MTV show. Damn, they really hit in that middle 2000s time. Yeah. Room Raiders.
Room Raiders was literally the poor man's Pimp My Ride. But yeah, oh my God, Room Raiders. They would just go in there and do ridiculous shit to your shit room. Yeah.
Black light on everything. Like
lava lamps.
I mean,
rated Spencer's Gifts for Spencer's Gifts for that show.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's just not that many high schoolers that would have like fuzzy handcuffs in their room. Like that was fucking planted by production. All of these little spots that came up on black lights, that could just be like drool or from sneezing.
Yeah. There's no way half the people kept their rooms looking that ridiculous, by the way. My mother would have walked in my room and said, "No, you don't need a disco ball in your effing room, Daniel." And she would have taken it away. My brother and I, we used to cut out pictures of women that we found attractive in magazines, and we would make collages on our wall. And at one point, our entire room was a collage of girls because we shared a room, and we were horny little boys at 16 and 14.
Porn. Wow.
My mother, like a year later, went into my room and she's like, "This is still here," and she started tearing it up. She destroyed our room, and I got so upset. I remember, but it's it was over.
Would have been the perfect contestants for Room Raiders. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that damn time capsule. See, I wish I remembered these. That's why it's good to, now we're brainstorming, getting the juices flowing.
I love talking mid 2000s. I could talk mid 2000s all day. That was
it's like the forgotten generation. It doesn't get enough credit.
Because
why do we not credit like the layering of the polos and the tank tops on top of each other? Just, it was such a time. It was, oh God.
Because I always consider myself a 90s kid, but I was 15 years old when 2000 hit. So like really my high school was that early to mid 2000s where you just had these,
Paris Hilton, Ashley Tisdale, Lizzie McGuire, all on the red carpet.
Liz, my senior year of high school, I watched Lizzie McGuire. Instead of going out every Friday night when Lizzie McGuire was on at 7:30 at night, I stayed at home and watched Lizzie McGuire my senior year of high school. Yeah. I was the biggest nerd.
Fuck yeah, you did. Fuck yeah, Dan Lindgren did.
Yep.
He had to keep up with Lizzie and see if Kate was going to be a bitch to her and what Miranda was going to do to step in and diffuse the situation.
I know. I had to watch that. Who was her crush on that show? Oh God. Ethan Kraft.
I still remember, Dan, the outros on the Disney Channel that they would do, how they would say like, coming soon is another episode of Lizzie McGuire. And then it would show the Disney Mickey, and then it would be like, Ethan, get inside his head. There's not much going on in there.
Sure.
You'll remember that.
Those are some great promos. Yeah.
Yes. You know how I found out, talk about a throwback. I found out Lizzie McGuire got canceled and then proceeded to cry all night because my mom read it in a newspaper. Talk about old school. She came over, she goes, "Oh, they're canceling Lizzie McGuire." And I saw the little column with Hilary Duff's cute little face.
Yeah.
That's how I got the news. A newspaper. Imagine that.
I just remember all those Disney promos where they'd be like, "Stay tuned for more Disney," and they draw the mouse ears. But like when they drew some of the people, like I don't know if they didn't practice enough, but they'd be like, and then the mouse ears would be like, "You didn't draw mouse ears." I'd get all mad. Like, make the ears, and I'd practice. I'd be like, "Oh, I'd nail it. I got to become a Disney kid." But
yeah, I was wondering what inspired you to want to have a career in acting. Was it wanting to do the Disney Mickey, or was it wanting to be Jackass?
It was neither. It would be Jim Carrey's comedic stylings in the 90s. I was like, I want to do physical comedy like that, and I want to make people laugh. And that was the base. That was the base right there.
You do love yourself some Jim Carrey.
Not so much anymore. Poor Jim. I loved him there's a net. If you want to do our really quick, we can do our what to watch on Netflix, or what to watch, our picks of the week. He has a Andy and Jim, it's called, or Jim and Andy, and it's a documentary on Netflix. And Jim Carrey, it's him at the time when he was making Man on the Moon, which is this great movie that Jim did in the 90s, or maybe late 90s. And,
okay. So it's not the one. Isn't there also a documentary on when he's doing method acting? And that is the one.
That should be the same. That's the same one. He becomes, oh my God, Andy. Oh my God, that's really
Armstrong.
Bad. Huh?
I was kidding. Andy Armstrong, who I thought that was the only person that went to the moon. Neil Armstrong. Get it? Okay.
Anyway, sorry. Go on. I'm looking it up right now. Yeah,
okay, so we got to do our number ones.
Oh my God, we haven't got to our number ones yet.
Number ones, plural, because that's my cheat.
Andy Kaufman is the answer. He got method acting into being Andy Kaufman.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you're number one. Got it.
Ones. Because I have two.
I know you cheated like I did. I got it.
And you know what they are already. The Challenge and the Jersey Shore. I put them as number one together which is really hard because I felt like, oh, it should be Jersey Shore. And then I was like, I don't know though, because the way I got obsessed with the challenge for a certain amount of seasons, remember we always talk about kind of that middle range. That's like Battle of the Exes, Rivals, Cutthroat Rivals 2, like Bloodlines, all of those together in one. I mean, I was fully, I would think about the episode like every day after it aired, just in anticipation of the next week's episode.
That's a 10-year period of your life. Jersey Shore was only on for like 5. So that's double the amount of time that you had that moment.
Forever with me though. It's always going to be a part of my life. Like I will rewatch that every year.
I love how you're defending which one should be number one by going back and forth.
I know. Because I love them. Jersey Shore, we talked about it to death, but the last thing I'll say is we know reality TV can have manipulation and editing, and the fourth wall can get broken and producers can tell them kind of what to do. But I think what stands the most with Jersey Shore is that the contestants, I keep calling them contestants, cast members, they were really just crazy themselves. Like, I think they were put in a situation that manipulated, you know, maybe some of their antics and some situational things like getting in fights. But I really just think they are who they are and they're naturally crazy. And there's not going to be another show like that with those characters.
That's why that show works so well though, because yes, they were produced, Jenna, but for the first 3 seasons, there was like bare minimum producing going on by these producers. These guys were just being themselves and they were bringing the content themselves. They already had all their content. They had all the things they did. Later in the show, especially now, this reunion show is 100% produced and it loses the great factor of just
that's why I don't watch this, because I just don't feel like they're not being authentic.
It's very produced. They're like, hey, we have this idea, we need you to do this certain thing to make a funny joke instead of just doing it on your own. So it's just not, there are some producing things that in Jersey Shore, like the time that Snooki threw the bottles at the bartender. Do you remember that? She was taking bottles of alcohol off the bar and throwing them at the bartender one night because she got mad at a bar. And the producers, if you look, the camera turns, the bottles aren't there. When the camera turns back, someone had placed bottles in very easy access reach for her because the other ones are like behind the bar. So producer, and then you could see a producer leave the scene and they actually slowed it down and they showed it in some like special features thing or something like that. The show, maybe on YouTube, I watched it. The show, the producer trying to get out of the way to not be seen in the shot because the producer had put those bottles and they even producer, you can see her telling her, hey, they're telling her to throw, like giving her access to them. So
yeah, definitely. And that's disappointing, but I still just think,
no, overall, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. What's your number one?
You can name my number one. What's my number one?
Oh, the challenge.
Yeah. I mean, come on. We're obsessed with this damn show. Hell, we take time out of our lives every week, Jenna, for free, except, you know, hopefully on Patreon, we're trying to build something here, but like on our YouTube channel, I mean, that's all out of the kindness of our hearts because we have so much passion to talk about that show. And honestly, I really do enjoy talking to you ladies about it. It's fun. We have a great time. We say our ridiculous takes, especially me, and then you girls can make fun of it. And I love it. I love every second of it.
Basically, it sounds like we just love to talk shit.
Yeah. Well, by the way, I watched Anissa and Tori's podcast. We kind of talked about this. So I did a little deep dive just listening to them this week. And we'll talk about it on Wednesday, right before the show starts. I'm going to give you some deep dive moments and some behind the scenes stuff. So you want to definitely hop on YouTube and check us out there, guys, because I'm going to start the show off with that and get your reactions to it, you and Pam, because Pam should be back with us. Another fun thing, if you want to check us out on Wednesday, Pam's back. Back
from her wedding honeymoon days.
2 weeks of bliss to come back to hang out with us.
I'm excited for your deep dive topics.
It's some really interesting stuff that I'm excited to tell you girls about. Anyways, I think that about wraps it up. I think we did a great job.
Wrap it up.
Yeah. No kids, guys. Wrap it up. Good job, everybody. We will see you guys in a couple days. Wednesday, we're going to be talking all about episode 6 of the challenge. I don't know the name yet, Jenna. I know I'm sorry to disappoint you. Don't know the name yet. But we're going to be talking all about that.
Disney, Dan. I don't even know who you are anymore.
Well, I was at Disney yesterday. So Disneyland.
That's why you're still trying to come down. It was a lot for you. You went on Pirates of the Caribbean again.
Not yesterday.
So like reliving it.
If you want to check out a picture on my Instagram at the Dan Lindgren, I put a picture up with my princess on.
Cute.
Oh, I'm such a loser. Okay. Yes. Anyways, see y'all later.
Goodbye.
2 days. 2 days. We're gonna see ya.